preparing for live stream.
Oh,
We are
okay.
there. Yeah, I think I just had it open too long, but we're
Ah,
in now. So let's do this. Alrighty, hello everyone. There we go. And yes, I have to put this on mute. There we go. Other than that, I hear myself twice. I don't want that. And now I have to see. Now I think I deleted it. Facebook Live. There we go. Alrighty.
you're on. Yeah, you're on.
Hello everyone. Jarne here, Healing Magic 27 and Roger Burnley again. Yeah, we just had a little conversation and we chose to call the talk Reason of Relationships, as we are more than ever are truly aware of what relationships bring in life for us, and sometimes also what they take. So yeah, we will have a little chat about that. We don't know how long we will be live. Won't be too long, I think,
Not too long.
but we just start doing it. So relationships, Roger, what comes into your mind?
Relationships are what make us. And that's the thing that we must understand. And it's an integral part of the work that I'm doing now, especially for this time in our world. When I started changing my direction, my life several years ago, I don't think people kind of understood why I was doing that. It was a little confusing, but I did it because I knew that individuals coming to own who they are, own their lives, and we do that through our relationships, coming to understand that would make our world better. All of the things, the events that have happened over the last several years have been moving into another new direction of us trying to create a better world. And the way we do that is by creating better world, which comes through us. And we can only do that when we examine who we have become. And that happens through our relationships from the time we're born, whatever our parents or whatever guardians we have, who we went to school with, the people we form relationships with at work, the personal, intimate relationships that we form, they all tell us who we are, because we are either attracting them or they're coming into our lives to help us grow in some way. And this period in our world is having all of these relationships come together to give us the opportunity to choose who we want to become. And if we choose love, meaning choosing ourselves, we create a different life and we create a very different world. And that's the thing, that's the message that I'm bringing to everyone, to understand how much power they have to not only affect and create their lives, but contribute to the world in a meaningful way, because everyone possesses something.
Awesome. And everyone possesses something, right? And then with this something, we're going into a relationship. So I ask you, like everyone who listens, like, what do you have? What do you bring into the relationship that, or relationships that you have? Or what do you hold in the relationship with yourself? What is within you, right? Like, what attitude do you have towards yourself? What relationship do you have with yourself? And therefore going out into the relationships that you have with other people. And I mean, creating the world that you desire is caused by the relationships that you have, right? If you're not having healthy relationships, then I've been there. It took me a while, because I also had to find myself and to become confident in who I am, right? Which is also important. And this is why we're doing the work that we're doing. But without that, it is very difficult to go out and to have the relationships that are in alignment, right? So
there's a message I received a long time ago, and I'm going to give everyone this one, because I said I was really struggling because I was making a lot of changes and I wasn't receiving the kind of support that I wanted from people around me. You know, I've done a lot of different careers in my life, and I've changed many of them. People are like, this is really confusing. I go, well, if you follow your intuition, if you follow your heart, you might change your life as well. And a lot of people are coming to that, especially over the last several years. But when I was first doing this, I was so upset because I was getting all of this pushback from everyone. And the message I received, well, you needed the opposition. And I said, what does that mean? I needed the opposition. They said, well, you don't need anything. However, you can use the opposition, meaning that when you feel someone pushing against you or not believing in who you are, then that means you have to develop your self-belief. Self-belief is the only thing that causes us to live the lives we want to have. And it's a challenge from the time, maybe since we start to learn how to think, we're still living from the ideas and beliefs of our parents or those who came before, and then deciding to accept and own what is true for us can become a little challenging. And then when the world is going crazy, it becomes even more challenging as the times that we are living in currently. And so the reason we were
Yeah, bro,
talking earlier.
you say a very key aspect right there, and I was writing about this today. As I became within 1 hour, I became aware of 3 beliefs that weren't mine. So 3 beliefs that I adapted from someone else.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa. So I was sitting with it, right? And I'm like, well, 3 times today, 3 times I have been aware of that occurring. So this is something that is pretty high. Like, I mean, the amount of that happening 3 times in 1 hour. How many people are usually aware of this anyway? And became more aware of it step by step, but today 3 times. And I'm like, wow. So I
Well,
wrote
the
about it.
energies of, well, you're being inspired because, and especially now, there's some interesting aspects today with Venus and the planet of love and all of these things that are moving through us. And so, we're going to look at things and start to let go of some of the old things, like you were discovering, that did not serve us because we accepted them from someone else and not owning ours.
Yeah.
But we can only do that when we have the relationships. As you said, we can't develop who we are without some sort of comparison or looking at others or what we've learned. But at some point, we have to decide to become self-actualized, self-empowered, and that's developing our own beliefs. And they have to be uncovered, though. That's the thing I think people don't really, not everyone will understand, that it's a process of uncovering within us, our consciousness, who we could become, our potential. It's never done. So we're always in the uncovering more and more of it, which is why I love this work so much.
Love that. So, fun fact.
Okay.
We are live on your Facebook, which is cool. Fun fact,
Well, thank
we're
you for
live on
that.
yours. No worries, Roger. No worries. I've just
you
switched
just
the
took over.
accounts. Exactly. So, but self-actualization, like what does someone need to reach to become or to do to self-actualize themselves? Because
Become
like what
courageous.
I courageous, great. Like for me, self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is the thing that came up. And I do have a
Oh, that's great. What you just said, those two things are the same.
Explain us. I mean, yes, I get it, but your perspective of it is always gold.
Because awareness is something we do in our consciousness, which is why everyone speaks about mindset. When we become aware in our consciousness, then we access more of who we are. Then we have to develop the courage to live that. So that's why they're together. And it's a constant growth experience that we're doing only in our consciousness. It doesn't happen anywhere else. When I get people to think, what would make you any less important than any other human on the planet? When we think of nothing except the way I've chosen to think. Now, how have I chosen to think? It could have been, as you said, from what I learned when I was younger, what I accepted, and the beliefs that have been implanted that we didn't even know were there. Those are coming up now within more people, and it's also coming up in our world. When I heard, and a lot of people will kind of see all of this stuff, but 2 years ago, I did a channeling session, a Wilhelm channeling session. And what came through was this thing as well, talking about the war in Ukraine. They said, it's not going to turn out the way you thought. It's not going to turn out the way anyone thought. And then last night, I see what was happening. Yesterday, I saw a bunch of stuff that was happening. I go, oh, wow, this is different. This has never happened before. And this is what I had been saying for the last 3 years, that we're moving through changes in our world that none of us have experienced. They're different, and some people could become frightened, but that's not where we're meant to go. The message I posted something this morning on any advice, the message for today, but the one that was given in 2012 was about anxiety, talking about we might be feeling some anxiety, but anxiety means that there's just some part of us that we have yet to embrace, some part of us that we're not moving to. That's why we're feeling that, because they said that message was so brilliant, is that it's never necessary, or something like that, that anxiety is never necessary. It's just something that we use energetically to kind of move to the next portion of who we could become. And that's every single person.
I felt anxious today.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that I came back from my walk and I was laying in bed, and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? I didn't know what to do, right? Like, I knew I wanted to go live. I wanted to write a little, and I actually wanted to watch something. So I watched something on Gaia. But before that, I just felt like it's like this. I just wanted to grow, right? I just wanted to do something. I just wanted to. And then watching Gaia was just the right thing, because I felt just the whole feeling that came with doing that has been the proof of, yes, I have to do this. And then I meditated whilst I was watching it, because it was around the energy field within and around our human body. So it was like 2 in 1. And learning and educating is usually something that I love doing through visuals and through listening. Reading, taking a book in my hand and reading has never really been too much of a thing that I did enjoy. It just makes me tired, and I tend to fall asleep.
We'll talk about that. Because I go into a little more detail. Trying to read, is that what would make you tired? Yeah.
Yeah, like it takes so long, and I'm a visual person, right? I'm visual and auditory and kinesthetic, and I'm just like, if I have a book in my hand, I'm just getting bored. It's not that the book topic isn't great. I mean, there are some books around. When I had Carl Jung in my hand, I'm like, wow, okay, this is cool, right? But it also depends on the book and the topic.
Right.
But just because I do learn through like really audio a lot, or visuals, and if I have 2 in 1, and I can do something else as well whilst I'm watching it, right? So it's for me an effective way of doing it. And there's so much great content out there that is consumed and very easy. And I mean, I'm traveling. I mean, I've moved places in the last 3.5 years, towards the 20 times. I think I changed the place I was living in, and carrying books with me is, I mean, the heaviest things that I do have are books.
See, that's what I wanted to bring up. I wanted you to talk about that, because see, I was similar. And so I want people to understand we all receive information in different ways, and ways that are unique and that will work for who we're meant to become. When I was much younger, I didn't in school, when I was a kid, they thought something was wrong with me. because I wasn't reading or wasn't paying attention to things, because that is not what I would normally do. I was really intuitive. So I would receive information that way, and I would be
And way
blamed.
faster and way
Yeah.
faster, right?
So yes. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
different. Other people, my brother, for instance, could sit down and read books and books and books. And I go, okay, but I could read books if, like you said, they interested me, because that was one thing. Not understanding that I had a different neurological makeup than many others. And so, and like, I'm not visual either. You are more visual. I just, I receive information. I can interpret it. I'm receiving cosmic information. I can interpret it and write it. That was something that developed over years. When I first started doing it in 1988, it was kind of weird to me, but then it became more of my form of communication, which is why how I created all my work, is by doing all of that, and it's how I transform my life. So so everyone will do it in a way that suits their particular journey, whatever their path is. And so, but I'm saying this because I formed judgment on myself, because I wasn't
We
that
do.
person.
We
Yeah,
we
it
we
was
do that, and this is because the society is putting us into a
right.
box, right? But like reading books, I had to read for school and I fell asleep whilst reading,
Yeah.
right? It just happened. And I'm like, whoa. And so many times, because also now what came up is the speed that we
Mhm.
can learn through just receiving information through spirit connection to spirit
Mhm.
and in the field rather than reading one word at a time. I pick up on things before they even happen. Today we had this really emotional. I just felt super emotional. My heart just opened up for some reason. I didn't know specifically why. Though then the kids I'm living with, they had a phone call with their dad, which has been very emotional and very heartwarming. So I received that information intuitively before that something changed here in the atmosphere around me before it even occurred, which is also an interesting thing. So I'm strengthening the relationship that I have with myself and the intuitive messages that I do receive. If I go back to Bali, when I've been there, I was driving on a bike into a cafe and I had a green smoothie in my head. And I'm going in there and I see a friend sitting there with a green smoothie. So things like that, right? Just to receive that information before it happened. This is something that I'm now really learning to tap more
Explain to people
into.
why that was okay. You explain why that was important, because you just mentioned the synchronicity that I'm not sure people would understand. But because I interpret synchronicities that you just mentioned
Mhm.
as a signal that, oh yeah, you're on a path, you have a plan, you're just seeing your path unfolding right before you. And that's why I think we have coincidences, or some people think that they're coincidences, and I don't believe those exist.
Same. I think it's all synchronicities. And yeah, I mean, many times we do have that, especially when we're having a phone call or we receive a phone call
Mhm.
from like my mom as an example, and I just thought about her in the moment,
Yeah.
or a friend like who has experienced this right here,
Mhm.
me. So, and yes, the synchronicities that you are aligned with yourself and your path, and the moments that we let go of the ignorant living, I believe we are relating in another way towards life, right? It's the again also the relationship that we have with life itself, with all living things, and sending gratitude to it.
You
Mhm.
said something that reminded me of a mess. You said ignorant, and which is something that we should all that 'cause received a hmm, I received a message a while ago that had that word in it. And I said, oh, wait a minute, that feels really uncomfortable to say that, to use that word. But the fact is, we are all ignorant, because we don't know who we are. How could we know who we are until we actually achieve that? And how could we achieve that until we become willing to move there? So before we experience the next aspect of who we're meant to become, we're ignorant. We're ignorant of how much we could do, how much we could achieve, and what that potential is. And so I'm going to look and see what if I can. I know that there was it that it came up in a message and it felt, and a lot of times when I receive things like that, it can feel a little uncomfortable. And this is why a lot of us don't when we
It's interesting. Roger always
oh
has messages to everything,
yeah,
basically.
ignorance is not bliss.
Oh yeah, you were reading this. Was it in January or February? I think when you've read this one. It was an
It,
interesting
it,
one.
it,
I
wow.
just
Well,
started
this
talking about bliss lately as well, which is an interesting topic. I choose to be in bliss. Now alone from talking about it, I become blissful and just joyful, and I feel the
right.
energy flowing in a different way. It's awesome.
It was just saying that. Oh wow. We're- Because see, we only move to bliss when we decide to accept our ignorance. You see, when we accept our ignorance, we know that there's more that we can achieve and accomplish. And then when we start doing that, we move into who we're meant to become and start loving ourselves. And then we start experiencing that feeling, that state of bliss. This is something that goes back forever, and we've always heard of it. Joseph Campbell, follow your bliss. Great guy. I used to listen to his stuff all the time when he used to have a special, these specials he used to do. But um, the most incredible information that we can hear doesn't always mean that we embody it at the time that we hear it. It's a
Hmm.
process of us accepting any kind of information, any kind of wisdom that's been around forever, but
Depending
we
if we're
still have
ready
to be.
for it. Exactly. I mean,
Exactly.
sometimes I talk with people and they just don't get what I'm talking about. And sometimes I talk with someone and I didn't get what they're talking about because I was so much in my own little movie that I couldn't, I wasn't ready to receive the message. And then weeks later, a month later, a year later, at times, sometimes 10 years later, maybe sometimes in my adulthood, I just like, bam, this is what happened when I was 6 years old, right? I wasn't just ready to accept or to understand because I had all of those judgments around and I was just in my own little movie that wasn't allowing me to receive, yeah,
I
the
love the
truth
fact that
of the information.
I love the fact that you used movie. See, that's
Yeah,
perfect
yeah,
because what happens, people can think of this when we understand that we're only living our own little movie and that's in our consciousness. And then there's certain things that we will accept or see at a certain time in terms of how we have allowed our consciousness to develop
and
and
some
the
things
way
we just don't want to hear, right? We just like,
exactly. But then think about this and everyone has done this, when we see a movie for the second or third time, how often do we look at that, see that movie and go, oh,
mm-hmm.
wow, I didn't see that the first. Oh, I missed that. How did I miss that? That goes on all the time, which is why we keep going back to see some of them. But it's the same thing with our awareness of the consciousness of what we're developing within us. It's a constant process. And I'm going to put something out today. I'll just tell you. I told Stan yesterday. I'm going to say, well, I had to explain to people that um, my work is only for those who want to become happy and prosperous. My work is because, see, becoming happy means that you are willing to embrace who you are. It means that
Mm-hmm.
you are willing to embrace your life, understand everything you've moved through, everything you've accomplished, everything you've done, and where you're going. That is you deciding to embrace all of that. And then what happens is you become prosperous because there's a natural flow of energy that will come from the universe. You can call it law of attraction, whatever you want, but I've proven it in my life. So I know that this is true. When you take those steps into owning and honoring who you are, magically, all of a sudden, money starts flowing and abundance in whatever form that serves the individual. A lot of people, it's not even about that. It could be having the right relationship or whatever that causes you to feel abundant. It happens when you take those steps into becoming happy. This is the thing. I remember hearing something a long time ago, and it said, your purpose is happiness. That's something that is hard for us to accept at times, but every individual is meant to become happy in their lives. And that happens when they move into who they are.
and it's a cramp to work with people who don't want, right? Like it
It's
is a
frustrating.
waste, it is a waste
Yeah.
of energy. And I mean, if you're on your mission and if you want to help as many
Mm,
people as you can, and you have someone in front of you who is just like choosing to stay ignorant, to bring
mm.
that term back in,
Right, right,
then
right.
it is very difficult, right? And the only thing that you can do is just to keep loving them, but
Mm,
just love yourself so much that you just
right.
keep working on your mission. Yeah. So
And
if you're someone who doesn't want to be happy and doesn't want to give to be you, then the work is
don't
nothing for you.
don't work with me.
Don't work with
Don't
me.
do-
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. And
Exactly.
it is okay. Well, you have to understand it's so challenging for me to say that because I just love people so much and I just want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to know who they are and become successful. I want but then when I see them stop because they hit a roadblock,
Hmm.
because they approach something that's a little emotionally difficult, it frustrates me because I know how they can move through it because I did it. See, I can only talk about things that I've done, that I've accomplished. I can only coach things that I've accomplished. And
Yeah.
that one I understand. And so, but anyway, I have to break this habit in myself, as Joe Dispenza says, break the habit of being yourself. And that is me trying to get others to understand what they can accomplish when they're not willing to do it, you
Hey,
know?
bro, we're in the same boat there, that I see more potential in people that they see in themselves.
Yeah.
Most of the many, like a lot of times, right? And this has been, you named the word, frustrating at times, but it's then again me projecting my reality onto them, and this is also not fair. So I have to learn to take them as they are and to accept them for who they are and where they're at in life. And if they don't want to achieve as much as I want to achieve, or if they don't think about themselves as much as I think about myself and also of them in terms of the capacity or like the capabilities that they have, then this is also okay. And this is something that we have to learn and admit for ourselves, to park our ego on the right.
So,
And then
yeah.
just to
And
move on.
it's just about this time understanding that everyone will make their choice about if they are willing to. And it's so challenging to say this because I know that it's true, and then I can't. Uh, it When you're unwilling to become happy, that's just what it is. Unwilling to become happy means you're unwilling to understand who you are. You're unwilling to move into accept total self-acceptance and self-love. And that means everything that you might have done in your life, every experience has given you value if you can interpret it in the way that you feel that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what this work is doing. But I want to say what's happened now, though, is the people that are in the program. I mean, I am loving what is happening. I'm loving them. The group
Good
calls are
vibes.
just,
Good vibes. Yeah.
they're amazing. And just to feel that every week
Mm-hmm.
has said that all this work that I've done all these years is now paying off. And that's what everyone should understand about the mission that they're on, about the journey, whatever it is they're developing. If you become honest and authentic with yourself, it happens. It starts to come about. But also it's moving through all the old stuff, which is just in our thinking.
Yeah, and then again, right, to bring the term relationship, or relationships again there back in, it is about the past. And um are people able to understand their past, right? Are people willing to look in it why certain relationships didn't work out? Are they willing to look at it in a way um that is causing their expansion and growth, right? So like we can look at it always from many different sides, and we have to acknowledge that our perspective is not always I mean, I'm right and so are you, right? So
That,
we have to
that was
understand,
it. Yes.
yeah, we have to understand that everyone is on their journeys and everyone is perceiving reality
Right.
caused by their past experience, beliefs. sometimes even influenced by traumas. And then why am I attracting certain people in my life? Why do I have certain relationships that are not, that I seem to repeat themselves? It's because I'm still not yet looking at the thing that is basically holding me back, or like the karmic pattern that is repeating itself. So if I attract someone who is ignoring me all the time, so why is this someone ignoring me all the time? Am I maybe ignoring sometimes as well, right? So it always starts from the reflection that we have and what the things that we think about ourselves, or the way that we treat other people, because the universe, the life in this world, usually we always get back what we put out. So if I'm ignoring you as an example, then the consequence is that I'm feeling ignored by you, right? So if I'm jealous because you have a great success, you have had a video that goes viral, right? Then this is me. It, right? This whole loop, it just doesn't make sense. We have to learn to be happy for each other, learning to understand each other, and to celebrate successes for other people, so the universe knows what we like, so we can get more of this. If I'm vibrating on a frequency of jealousy, hatred, envy, what what else, right? Then I will attract those things into my life more and more. If I can't forgive my past relationship, that, or myself even, for having been in this relationship, how can I possibly heal and gain something new in my life? So
You said, you said, okay, well, I'm going to end with this because I'm going to go to brunch after this. So I'm going to say this, but you said all the right things, all the correct things that I wanted people to understand. When I first began receiving the information about a restructuring that we were moving through in our world, it was about being willing individually to move through old ideas, the old paradigm, the way things used to operate. We're always doing that in the world, but this is a dynamic time that we're doing it on a grand scale, which is why we're seeing all the events of the world, and the wars and all the different conflicts and the whole bit. And the way that we shift that is by deciding to love who we are. The more people who decide to love who they are and what they came to the world to do, we shift the world. And we understand that now through the sciences. We know how things are created. We create our lives and the world exactly the same way in our thoughts, the way we choose to think, and the energy of the thoughts that we're putting into ourselves and putting into the world. And it's a very individual choice, but the more of us who make the choice to love ourselves, we create a very different world. So
good
that's my
stuff.
story for today.
Good stuff. All right, everyone. Yeah, check out what we do. Really check out
Great.
what we do. If you feel the inspiration, keep watching the videos. Check out on YouTube Healing Magic 27. Check out Roger Burnley. Look what is out there. Roger has amazing videos. Had a great interview lately as well. Just type it in, rogerburnley.com as well. Is his website. His program will transform your life as it does, right? You will have access to me as
Oh, yeah.
well.
The interview, Alex's interview, is on the website now, so people can see that. Stan put it up there yesterday, so people will see that as well.
Awesome. So
It explains everything.
exactly, we keep being here. I'm running my Higher States Telegram channel, where you also have access to inner insights of my personal life a little bit more, if that's interesting to you. And thank you, sir, for
Thank you.
doing what
It
you're
was
doing,
wonderful.
right?
Yes,
Awesome.
absolutely.
All right, everyone. See you
Have a great one.
around.
See you soon.